everybody. It's time for Devon's Table. I'm Devon O'Day.
I'm Sylvia Gagne.
And we're going to talk flour. Not flowers, which are starting to bloom in different places right now. We're going to talk about the thing that always gets argued about. There's gluten-free and there's, oh my gosh, we are keto and we're not keto and we want an almond flour or we want... It's so confusing with all the flours, but you're going to take all the mystery out of it.
Well, I'm going to try. Today we're going to talk mainly about wheat flour. And that might be the only time in this segment that I say flour. Because I grew up in rural North Carolina and we say flour.
True that.
And so if I say flour, then just giggle and go right along with it.
It's like oil.
Oil, water, flour.
We studied long and hard not to be able to say it that way, but it still pops out.
Every now and then it catches up with us. So we're talking about wheat flour. You have to know that there are two kinds of wheat. There are hard wheats and there is also soft wheat. Okay?
Okay.
Hard wheat is going to typically have a higher gluten content.
Okay.
So that's one way you get gluten. And then if you think about when you have that kernel of wheat, there are three parts to it.
Yeah.
So you have the outside, you have the bran. And the bran has its own set of nutrients. It's fiber, all the good things that are found in that hard shell. Okay? Hard wheat, harder shell.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay? Easy to remember that. And then you have the endosperm, which is the center part of the cell.
All right.
And that has its set of nutrients that you can have. And then you have the actual tiny little bit of wheat germ that is in there.
Right in the center.
And that has more flavonoids, oils, that sort of thing.
That's why you get wheat germ oil. Okay, you do that, yes.
So as you start to strip away and take away certain pieces and parts of that little tiny seed, the wheat seed, you're left with different types of flour.
Oh, wow.
Okay?
Well, let's talk a little bit about the different kinds. Which side do you want to start with?
Let's start on your end. You're the queen. We're going to start with you. Okay? So here we have whole wheat flour.
Whole wheat organic flour.
Yes. I like the organic. It has not had any, Roundup stuff coming near it or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's truly a little bit easier on your digestive system because you don't have as much chemical push for it. So whole wheat, it's going to have the bran still left, the endosperm, everything is in there, all those good nutrients. It's typically going to be a more brown colored flour.
Right.
A lighter brown to a darker brown, depending on the type of wheat that they're using.
What they use for whole wheat bread.
Correct.
Okay.
And then you move into other types of flour that have been bleached.
Oh.
Okay.
That's your white flour because they're not naturally white.
Correct.
Okay.
Flour is not naturally white. It is done one of two ways, either with a bromate or a chlorine gas. That's how they bleach the flour.
Wow.
So if you're really concerned about those added chemicals, go for your brown whole wheat. Your dish might not look as pretty or fluffy. You might not be able to have that lovely white cake that you can tint or dye or whatever you want to do with it, but that's what you're going to do.
But you're without the bleach.
But you're without the bleach.
All-purpose flour, if a recipe calls for flour, they mean all-purpose.
Unless they specify something in particular, AP, you might see AP, all-purpose flour is where you're going to go. Remember that the brand of flour you pick is important for all-purpose flour. Not all-purpose flour is created equal because some of the wheat has a little higher gluten in it than others. So, for example, King Arthur flour, it is usually more glutinous, a higher protein content in that flour. And that means that it's more dense. The higher the protein, the denser what you're going to make with it.
And we don't ever think about flour having protein because it's so high carb and people avoid flour. They avoid things like that. But there is protein there.
Yeah, the proteins are what make it kind of come together and form the bonds that make bread or pasta or anything else that a pie crust. And so now we have our self-rising flour. Self-rising flour.
A little salt in it.
And a little a baking leavening agent, okay? And that baking powder is what can cause this flour to go south faster than an all-purpose flour. So when you buy self-rising flour, you want to try to keep this in an airtight container in your freezer.
Freezer.
That stops it from becoming rancid as fast. 6 months is the typical shelf life for a bag of self-rising flour.
If you have not baked with your flour in 6 months, get rid of it.
Especially your self-rising. You can tell when your flour is rancid, or if you've had little critters get into it, all you have to do is look. They'll flutter around in there. You don't want to use it. That is like bye-bye, okay?
But I will say that you can put it out for the chickens. The little critters, or they're like Christmas time.
They're like, you love us, don't you, Mama?
love us. Mealworms and little weevils. We are so happy.
Yes, indeed. So you don't have to just discard it. Find somebody that loves chickens and give it to the chickens. All right. But as we talked about, not all-purpose flour is created equal. Not all self-rising flour is created equal either.
Oh.
And so if Mama Pat or anybody else in your house told you to make sure that you use a southern flour, one that you see a picture of a little lady on, Martha White, White Lily, something like that. Those southern flours are a soft wheat flour. And they
Good for baking.
Do not have the same gluten. And if you want biscuits that are light and fluffy, you want this kind of flour.
There's a difference. There's such a difference. You go to those places and you see those little hard medallion biscuits that are kind of flat and hard. I don't like those. I don't like those. I want the big fluffy kind that tastes like buttermilk. That's ones I want, and that's why White Lily and
They make good cat head biscuits, don't they?
Oh yes, they do.
So I don't have any here, but I will just take a quick aside and talk about Wondra flour.
Oh,
have you seen the cans of Wondra flour? So that is a special type of flour that is very minute in how it's ground, and it also has a certain process that has been done to it, so it can hydrolyze very fast. So it basically flashes into whatever liquid it's in faster.
So like if you were making gravies?
So if you're making gravy or roux, then it dissipates into the liquid faster. So you can use Wondra flour if you don't have to stir as much, but it is not good for coating, say, fried chicken or anything like that, because it's just going to disintegrate into nothing.
Great for chicken covering is your all-purpose flour.
All-purpose flour.
Can't beat that.
Dip it in a little bit of buttermilk, then put it in the all-purpose flour with your cayenne, your pepper, and your salt. And could you make me some right now?
I know, doesn't that sound? Oh, it sounds really good, doesn't it?
Absolutely. All right, we're moving right along. There is pastry flour. There is cake flour. There is all bazillion different kinds of flour that you can bake with. That is the weight of the flour and the protein in it yet again. So you can make homemade substitutes. Google is your friend. And so if you don't have cake flour and it's specifically calling for something, your good trusty all-purpose flour, plus just look it up, just Google it, and it will tell you, take out 2 tablespoons, add 2 teaspoons, add a little of this, add a little of the other.
Right.
You can make the flour that you have on hand work. Will it work as well? Maybe so, maybe not. You just have to really decide. If you're going to buy cake flour, I love the Swan's Down, the old standard Swan on the box. You just can't go wrong with that one. Bread flour is good for making pizza, homemade breads, and that sort of thing. So it is already pre-formulated for that. But last but not least, we are talking about true Italian flour. Okay, Italian ground flour. In Italy, they have double O, they have single O. They have double aught, 1 and 2. Okay? So 2 is the coarsest grind. This is extra fine flour.
Okay, ready for pizzas? Would you use it for
Pizza. This is what you want for pizza.
And it's why sometimes our other dough doesn't work as well if you try to use these other flours and you go, why doesn't it taste like the kind I got in the restaurant?
Why is it not crispy and has that little lightness to it?
Yeah.
It's because they're using the double O flour.
Would you use this for pasta?
You can use this for pasta, not double O, but Italian flour, absolutely. But I would go for semolina flour.
Okay, totally different than a regular flour.
Yes, it is a hard red wheat. It is still wheat. There's not semolina plant. You're going to make it from that particular hard red wheat. And it's going to be ground a particular way, and it does not have the same type of elastins in the protein as these flours do.
Right.
So it makes it great for making pasta and terrible for making anything else. So use your semolina for that.
Well, if you want to find some good recipes for pasta or for cakes or for pies or for anything that you use flour for, stick around at the end and we'll tell you.
Hi, I'm Brenda Fielder. At Mid-South Exteriors, our custom sunrooms bring the sunshine in without all the heat and the bugs. And they keep you warm all winter while you enjoy the outdoors all year round. They add real value because we build them like your house to match your house. Or let us save you energy by replacing your windows and old siding. And because we have no retail overhead, we come to you and sell direct to you for less. Call us at 833-8003 or visit us at MidSouthExteriors.com.
Deep shades of blue are a popular choice for repainting old houses, as they can give the structure a more modern look. This dark blue is often paired with white trim to make it stand out, and is commonly seen on homes in warm climates, particularly near the beach. However, it can also be a stylish choice in a typical neighborhood. Navy blue is a relaxing and eye-catching color that is associated with trustworthiness and intelligence. If you want to add some color to your home's exterior without going over the top, navy blue might be a good option to consider. 4. Blue-gray. While many people love the color blue, using a bright shade for the exterior of a house can be overwhelming and draw too much attention. One alternative is to choose a blue-gray color, which offers a softer and more sophisticated look. This hue can range from pale to dark, and is often described as being whimsical and serene. Blue-gray is a popular choice for houses by the water and is seen as more professional than other shades of blue. If you want to incorporate the calming qualities of blue into your home's exterior, blue-gray might be a good option to consider.
You can't see the sights without the sounds. From the crack of the bat to the roar of the crowd and everything in between, discover what Hit City has to offer. Spend your nights cheering on the Nashville Sounds at First Horizon Park with giveaways, fireworks shows, theme weekends, and more. Single game tickets are on sale now. Visit NashvilleSounds.com to claim your seat today.
June is Dairy Month, so we decided to visit Turner Dairy, one of 3 dairies in Wilson County. Turner Dairy has 1,400 acres of land that is used for corn, soybeans, and wheat. They have a little over 100 cows and have been milking since 2015. In 2019, Jeffrey and Elizabeth Turner opened Shop Springs Creamery. The couple decided to open the creamery and take their traditional farming practices one step further to provide a local, wholesome product that they could sell directly to consumers. All the milk at Shop Springs Creamery comes from cows that are milked right across the road at Turner Dairy. Shop Springs Creamery is open 7 days a week, with hours Monday through Thursday from 12 to 7, Friday and Saturday from 12 to 8, and Sunday from 3 to 7. You can feel free to stop by and go inside for your ice cream, or you can pass through and get your ice cream to go through the drive-thru. They currently have 16 flavors on the menu. Any of these flavors can be put into a cup, a cone, or even be made into a milkshake. The Creamery has been a member of the Lebanon-Wilson County Chamber of Commerce since 2018. Be sure to stop by to celebrate Dairy Month.
Devon O'Day here at Preds Night, Main Street Media Night at the Predators game. I'm going to play the Kraken tonight. But you know what? We have met so many amazing people. People who say, oh my gosh, are you the paper in Clarksville? Yeah, we're the paper in Clarksville. Are you the paper in Mount Juliet? Yes, we're the paper in Mount Juliet. We're Wilson County. We are your high school sports paper. We cover everything that's hyper-local, the good stories, the feel-good stories, the stories that you want to clip out and put on your refrigerator just to remember. Maybe you want to send it to somebody to say, hey, saw you in the paper. That's what Main Street Media is all about. And thanks for coming to Main Street Media Night here at the Preds game. Go Preds!
Hey y'all, it's Austin here, and we are going to talk about my incredible hydrangeas. So we did a video a couple years ago on how pretty they are whenever they're in bloom. Well, now they're dormant, and we had a couple comments on people wanting to see me prune them, and that's a good topic because they all deserve to be pruned, and right now is the perfect time. They're getting ready to, crack new leaves for this spring, and I want to make sure I get them in check before that happens. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So now when it comes to actually pruning these things, you can literally cut this to the dirt and you will see new sprouts come and new blooms form. That's not really my way to go. I really like to leave some of the old sticks up so they'll leaf out from that and then bloom off of that. And then also it blooms at different intervals, so I get kind of this like blooms a little bit lower and then a top of that as well. But I just wanted you to know that you can literally trim it to the dirt and they're going to come back and be just fine. But we're not going to do that today. I'm actually deciding to, so I see my old cut from last year's right here. You could, if you wanted to, see this bud and this bud will be where it leafs out from. And that's fine. If you wanted to, you could go in there and you could cut right above those buds, just like that, and leave those two to form new leaves. I'm actually going to take it a little bit further. I'm going to take it past my cut down to the next set of buds, which is going to be, this one sent out a stem as well, but I'm going to go even below that, and I think I'm going to get it down into like this area. So that's where I'm going to go at that point, and then we're going to get that uniform all the way around the whole shrub. All right, so we've done it. We've cleaned them up. That's really all you have to do, and I took them down to where I wanted to take them. Everything looks uniform and nice and clean. I pulled out all the leaves that were down on the interior of this plant, got it all cleaned up. Old leaves are done, old spent blooms are out of here, and everything's uniform looking good. So what we're gonna see is leaves come from these sticks and also see new sprouts come from the ground. Gonna make a really nice full kind of hedge with these Incrediballs, and it's gonna be great.
While cattle is king in Texas, it's not often you see this breed, the American Milking Devon.
A recent addition. I went all the way to Virginia to get her.
Dora Franks is pursuing her passion of raising this unique breed in Flynn, Texas, about an hour north of College Station.
I've always wanted to train a pair of oxen. So I started researching what breed of cattle make good oxen. And Holstein, Jersey, any kind of cattle can be trained to be an ox. But I kept reading about American Milking Devon, how they were the cream of the crop.
So after many months of calls to breeders on the East Coast, where they're most predominant, Franks found her steers, ironically, back home in Texas.
Through many, many phone calls and many months of searching that I found Carolyn and Marston White. And I could not believe my good fortune that they lived in Cedar Hill, which is not too far from here. And they just so happened to have one bull, 2 cows. The 2 cows had just recently had 2 bull calves that were born in November. And I found them in February.
Once in her pasture, she started the training process. With that background in draft horses, it seemed a natural, but she wasn't a professional oxen trainer, and this was a whole different animal.
They're super intelligent, that they are probably the fastest walking breed. So, and then one of the next sentences would be, this is probably not the breed you want to start with if you've never trained oxen before. Well, that sold it for me, because I knew that I wanted a challenge, and so to read that they weren't for a greenhorn, I was sold hook, line, and sinker.
Franks also fell in love with the breed's other positive characteristics, their meat and their milk.
The milking quality of not only quantity. What, my darling, did you say milk? Did you say milk? But the milking quality that the Devon has is what further solidified my decision to get and start a herd of my own.
While it's a slow process to build a herd, Frank says it's so worth it, and she has hopes that the American milking Devon will have longevity in the Lone Star State.
My goal with the breeding and production of this breed is to maintain the multi-purpose traits of milking quality, beef quality, and draft qualities.
I'm Tammy Arender for Texas Agriculture Matters.
South Exterior.
Hi, I'm Brenda Fielder. When it comes to sunrooms and screen porches, we have more than 60 years experience helping Middle Tennesseans add value to their homes. At Mid-South Exteriors, we install all types of siding, from hardy board to all the new vinyl designs. We also do custom trim, gutters and downspouts. We even do roofing. And of course, energy-efficient replacement windows. Our website is our showroom, so we come to you and sell direct to you for less.
MidSouthExteriors.com.
She's a culinary rock star in the Nashville area, and we are very fortunate to have her here.
She definitely has her stamp on the city just by the number of people that worked under her.
She's always found people and sort of nurtured them to be the best version of the cook that they can be.
She showed a lot of people that were in Nashville that you could strike out on your own and kind of follow your vision and do what you wanted to do.
She trusted me. She let me sort of take the reins at her restaurant and gave me freedom to sort of experiment with what I did through her vision.
She doesn't try to overdo anything. It's just good, balanced, creative, fresh food.
It's going to be simply prepared, it's going to taste good, and it's representative of what her style is.
One of the things that she always sort of told everybody was, make it taste good. If it tastes good, then it works.
Mark is a Nashville food pioneer. In my opinion, best chef in Nashville.
I didn't have a job, I didn't have shelter, I didn't have food. I was very ashamed, I didn't want anyone to know my story. I can't wait every week to come back just to see the staff, to learn something new. I learn something new every time. I act on it, I go home and I take in what I learned and try and, do that with my children. Everything's falling into place. Just coming in here and having that support and God, everything is happening the right way. I've got a great job. I've got a great team here at Open Door. My kids are all coming together. My family's coming together. So it's just been wonderful.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us Research Program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become 1 in a million.
Sylvia, what a show this has been. It's made me want to go and make something with flour. I tend to go toward the savories. I'm not a very good baker, but I love to make gravies and roux and things like that. So
I knew you were going to make roux.
I know. That's what you do. That's what you do. The Louisiana me got to make my roux.
Absolutely. But maybe since you know the difference in the flours now, you might decide that you want to bake something because you'll have more success, right?
Exactly, because I would try things, and mainly knowing when to get rid of the flour that no longer serves you. Have you ever had what my mom would describe as a packy cake? It's when it packs down and it doesn't really rise very much, and you go, okay, this was awful. Or the cornbread is packy. The flour and the baking powder were not good anymore. There is a shelf life, and we learned about that today. If you want a great recipe for any of this we're talking about, go to greendoorgourmet.com.
And we'll be glad to fix you right up.
And all sorts of good things to put in along with that stuff that you bake. You can find all the produce. You can find farm fresh meats. And one thing that you've got, can we talk about, you've got glass bottle milk. Why does milk taste so much better out of a glass bottle?
Well, I think there is something to not having contact with metal or plastic lined. I think there is something to that. But also the glass bottle milk we have is low temp pasteurized. And so it's keeping more of those good nutrients in there, and they don't homogenize it. Homogenizing is when they mix it all up and the cream doesn't separate. This is cream rising milk. It's so good.
It is so good. And if you have not had the glass bottle milk from Green Door Gourmet, I will tell you, it will make you slap somebody. It's so good.
Except not me.
Not you. Oh, okay, don't slap somebody, but do serve them some good cold glass bottle milk from Green Door Gourmet. Hey, y'all, thanks for watching and thanks for being with us. We are so glad you join us each and every week, and you follow, you subscribe, and you share. And if you are looking for a blessing, you need to first
be one.